Strictly Come Dancing judge Shirley Ballas was reduced to tears as she shared her struggle with self-blame following the suicide of her brother David 20 years ago, confiding that the pain never really goes away. Strictly Come Dancing's Shirley Ballas has opened up on the empty void she experienced after losing her beloved brother Mark in 2003, following a period of intense depression. Chatting on an episode of Anna Richardson's podcast It Can't Just Be Me, she told of the heavy burden his death placed on her back, explaining, "We didn't cope." The 63-year-old revealed, "We had no advice, we had no counselor, we had nothing at all to help us. We went through years of self-blame." She added that his sudden death was beyond anything that was even explainable, as there had been no note left behind and had been raising a beautiful 10-year-old daughter at the time. Shirley's voice quavered and she became tearful as she admitted, "No one can ever help that empty void." The choked-up ballroom judge halted mid-sentence, telling the podcast host, "I am emotional, let me take a moment," before adding, "Nobody can ever understand that empty void and that self-blame that you put on yourself. Very, very difficult times for me," she mused. "At the time people were saying, 'Oh, I understand.' Well, actually, no you don't, because unless you have actually lost a loved one, no one can tell you how to feel." Besides feeling misunderstood, Shirley also found that when she did have the urge to reach out for support, she was met with awkward responses. When the anniversary of her brother's death recently approached, she spoke out only to discover that it seemed to be a very taboo subject. "I've tried to reach out to friends and it's a brisk conversation. They don't want to talk about it," she lamented. "I go to my room and I feel alone and I feel like I am to blame. It never really goes away. You just learn to live with it." Shirley added that very little mental health help or education had been available to her at the time, and she hadn't had a father present, so the burden of grief and blame fell mainly on herself and her mother. "I knew nothing, and, as a society, we're only scratching the surface on these topics," she exclaimed. Shirley went on to reveal during the conversation that she is so attached to her 37-year-old son Mark, who won Dancing with the Stars 3 times in the USA, that she still carries a personal memento of his wherever she goes. Although he hasn't died, she holds a deep emotional attachment to him despite thousands of miles separating their homes. "I still carry Mark's pillow. I still have his teddy. He has his room and I go in sometimes and look at all his pictures," she explained. Meanwhile, Shirley continues to reminisce over the relationship she had with her brother David, who would call her every day prior to his suicide in 2003, and admits that the love she feels for him will never wane.